Hello, welcome to Who's On Next, the podcast that sometimes gets people back, but sometimes they're banished to the void. Today I have with me the first returning guest who came on as the second episode back in 2020. It is Michael Kovach.
Hello. How's it going, Mike?
How are you doing? It's not like we were talking 10 minutes before the stream
No,
started.
we weren't talking at all 10 minutes beforehand. I'm doing good, though. I just got back from a trip seeing my family for the holidays, and I'm a little sick, so if you hear a little bit of grogginess in my throat, that's why, or a little nasaliness, that's why. But yeah, I'm doing good. How have you been doing, man?
Doing good. It would have been a lot worse if you joined the stream and I just hear you go, "Hey, Michael."
Hey! Yeah, no, I'm not like that. I'm good.
Let's like the Horvitz, like the like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that.
Discord's gonna cut it off, but yeah,
Oh no, I heard it a little bit, but like
yeah.
I think it's like the Richard Horvitz wheeze. I forget like how he does it, but I can do it. It just wrecks my throat if I do it.
Oh yeah, no. It's one of those things that you do like sparsely or scarcely.
I can only do it like easily if I'm laughing really hard. Like that's
Oh
like
yeah, no. Like I'm a natural wheezer when I laugh. Like that's just kind of what I do. Like my laughs are literally just me wheezing.
like I can do like if I can try to. Yeah, I can kind of do it.
Yeah, don't force yourself. Don't don't die for me.
So I guess
Uh,
for people that are not aware, if they have not seen the first episode that you were on, which I cannot believe that was the second episode.
I think a lot has changed as far as like things I've worked on since then. Also, because
Oh
like
no,
yeah,
that's kind of like one of the reasons I've wanted to bring a couple people back on because so much has changed since 2020. So
yeah.
try to
Let me
think.
actually hold on. While we're at it, if you can hear me typing, I'm actually checking to see the date of the last one we did. It was April 2020. Yeah,
Oh,
things have changed a good bit.
I was gonna say it was March, but that might have been when we recorded it. It might have been like
That
late
probably is.
March.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Like back then, it looks like you promoted me for my work on the Hazbin Hotel pilot, which I did get to work on that. Death Battle, I still did that. The Goku versus Superman 3 just
Oh
came out,
fuck yeah, you were on Death Battle again. I
yeah,
was like,
I'm Goku now. Oh my god, I got into a coughing fit. I'm Goku now on Death Battle, which is really funny. Um, and Lackadaisy came out earlier this year, the calendar year of 2023, which is really cool.
was I promoting Lackadaisy with that?
In the description it says the upcoming short film Lackadaisy.
God, I cannot believe that was like even back 3 years
That was when it
ago.
was starting production. It was
Yeah,
starting production then. Yeah,
holy shit.
it's
I don't,
crazy.
I don't even know about when Digital Circus started production. I doubt that long ago.
Digital Circus. I got the auditions for that. Oh, I should probably like preface beforehand stuff I've worked on now that that are out would be like the Amazing Digital Circus, which is insanely popular currently at like 183 million views.
That's like one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in such a short
Dude,
period of time. Just like, well, I think it's what is it people call you, like the king of indie voiceover now,
they
because
just
you've appeared in like
people,
every big pilot in the
yeah,
last like
people
3 years.
just I can't remember who said it. Someone said I'm like an indie animation good luck charm, which
That's what it was. That's what it was.
I don't necessarily believe it. I think that it's nice to work on all of these things. I think it just happens that a lot of the people I'm friends with that are like, super cool and want to work with me just happen to have these big heavy hitters that people really like. I'm just very happy to be a part of them. But yeah, no, like none of us expected Digital Circus to get quite the reputation that it has because we thought that it was gonna do okay. We were hoping it would do kind of similarly as well as Murder Drones, which is the other show by that the company Glitch Productions.
Yeah,
Which
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I voice the serial designation N in that show, and oh my god, no! It blew Murder Drones out of the water in like a week, which is weird. But yeah, like just so much has changed, and I completely forgot what you were asking me about right before I started. Like, 'cause I moved aside to say, oh yeah, I should probably start talking about the things I've worked on before.
I hadn't
you
even really
said.
asked a question. I was just like, so much shit has changed in the last like 3
Yeah,
years, just in general,
it
really.
has. Yeah, no. Indie animation, there's a lot more of it happening now.
I gotta,
It's just
I gotta,
there's
I
been a
gotta
big
tell you.
boom.
I gotta
Oh
tell
yeah.
you, actually. So I interviewed Michel Gagne a couple weeks ago, and he is a big visual effects animator. He did a lot of the stuff in the climax of Iron Giant
Mm-hmm.
and Ratatouille, and he did the effects animation for Quest for Camelot, and he designed a lot of Osmosis Jones. I had mentioned Digital Circus because we were talking about indie animation at one point, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I saw that like a couple weeks ago. It was really interesting." He was like, "I was like, I got recommended it by a friend, and I saw it, and it was just very fascinating because yeah, it was just us talking about indie animation, and he brought it up."
Yeah, no, a lot of people are at least like whether or not they enjoyed it or not, they're aware of it. And like it's made a big name for itself, which is insane. And I
I
couldn't
think
be
it was
more
just
proud of like Gooseworks in general because just I've
yeah.
always loved Gooseworks' content.
I think it's just like what blew my mind about mentioning it to him and him like knowing about it. He heard about it
Yeah.
from industry friends, and he's been in the industry since the 80s. He worked on fucking Don Bluth movies, and he knows about it and talked about it.
Dude, like a little like less, I guess, or just a little different is while I was in Ohio, my sister, I have a little sister that lives in Ohio still with my family. She wanted to introduce me to a few people at her workplace that I guess are fans of me, and so I went over there to say hi. A few customers at the college campus, like Chipotle, where she lives. Even they were just there just getting food, and as soon as they heard that it was me, they were like, "Oh my god, I know you! I love Digital Circus and Hazbin Hotel." I'm like, okay, cool, nice, thank you. It never feels real to me that there are people that actually just are aware of me
There are
in
people in the real
existence.
world that know about you, kind of
I
thing.
probably pass by people all the time that are at least somewhat aware of me that just wouldn't know, and I'm like, well, that's the joy of being a voice actor. I don't know if I can swear, so I'm gonna avoid it.
Oh no,
But
you can. Oh fuck, you can swear.
fuck yeah, but no,
I don't give a shit. I
okay,
always tell people. I always tell people you're allowed to swear. I don't care if that's who you are. You can be as vulgar as you want. Like,
nah, I try to avoid swearing, but sometimes it just slips out. But yeah, like it's one of those things where that's kind of the joy of being a voice actor is like most people aren't gonna know what you look like, so it's fine.
I think it was like I remember Jim Hanks, who does Woody in like everything that isn't the
Oh
Pixar
yeah.
movies. Yeah,
He's
I remember
basically
he.
like more official of a voice of Woody than Tom is at this point. He does way
Yeah,
more stuff.
I remember him talking about how he literally can't even go out to lunch with Tom without getting mobbed. Meanwhile, more people have probably heard him than Tom, and he can just go to McDonald's and nobody knows who he is.
That's the joy of it. And like even though he's related, like he doesn't look the same, so it's like he can get away with it.
I say he looks like a bootleg Tom Hanks. That's the
He
weird
does
thing.
like
Jim Hanks looks
if
like
you,
a
if you,
bootleg Tom
he
Hanks.
yeah, a little bit, yeah, just like a little off model. They didn't draw him correctly like to the model sheet.
He shaved his head and he has a beard. That's like his distinction from Tom Hanks. Is Tom Hanks is
Yeah,
always clean shaven and has hair.
exactly. Yeah.
The Walter White of the Hanks family.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I guess it's like for people that don't know, what is it that got you into voiceover?
Yeah, so when I was a little kid, just like most kids, I guess, I really loved cartoons and cartoon characters, and I had this very fond fascination with, in particular, the character of Mickey Mouse, because when you hear a character like Mickey Mouse, you hear the voice that he has, and just immediately you hear that kind of voice, and oh, that's Mickey Mouse's voice, and just the idea of how. Sorry if you hear a cat in the
Oh, that
background.
was a cat. That wasn't a mouse.
I know. Yeah, that was a cat. But you hear a voice and it's so distinct that it's like you immediately know what it is because it's like you hear a Mickey Mouse voice. Your first thought is, oh, it's Mickey Mouse, or oh, it's Felix the cat. But usually you just think, oh, it's Mickey Mouse. And it's just like the idea of having a voice that's so distinct that like it can just be recognized. I'm like, I want to learn how to do voices like that. So it's like I would try to learn how to do a Mickey Mouse voice or Winnie the Pooh or SpongeBob or something like that. And just over time, that kind of formed into like just an actual interest in the idea of acting with my voice. And I would do like fan dubs of, Sonic game cutscenes and stuff like that. And found myself on websites like the Voice Acting Alliance, Behind the Voice Actors, when that was a thing.
Oh, good. BTVA got rid of their.
They did.
They got rid of it like 2 years ago. All of our shit is gone, Michael. All of our shit is gone.
Oh God, I'm so grateful. Thank you, God. I'm free.
No, it's so.
I'm free.
It's so funny because I remember I met you through BTVA, which is so funny to me. Because God, that was what, 2013 when I met you, something like that.
The thing is I feel like I didn't join BTVA until 2014. I was on VAA back in like 2009 actually, I think. But yeah, BTVA, I'm pretty sure I joined in like probably early 2014,
something like that, 2014-ish, because I know I met you around that time, and then we just like casually would DM on Skype every so often.
Yeah, because that was before the Discord days. Oh man,
I remember even when you got the Hazbin pilot, that was still Skype days, and I remember messaging you on Skype like about that.
Was it Skype? Because
It was Skype. It was just as the transition to Discord was happening for a lot of people.
I might have still been using Skype, but like I know that I was on Discord at that time also, because I remember being in a Discord server. I distinctly remember being in a Discord server and telling people in this server like, "Yo, I just auditioned for this." I distinctly remember that. It was in like some project server I was in. But yeah, like, God, it's so long ago. That was like 2017 that I auditioned for that, I think.
Something, because I know it was like right when I moved. So it would have been like 2016, maybe early 2017.
Let me check. I can actually confirm right now. I save all of my important emails.
That shit's on my old computer. That's long gone. When I auditioned for Hazbin, that's long gone.
August 2000. Oh, June 14th, 2017.
Okay, so that would have been like a few months into when I moved, when that happened.
That's when I submitted my demo. June 21st is when I auditioned. July 25th is when I got when I did my callback, and then August 1st is when I got cast. Wow. Yeah, so it was in the summer of 2017.
God, that feels so long ago. That was
that was like right after Anime Expo 2017. I went because that's the convention I went to. I remember like sitting on that and being nervous. I was like, "Oh man, I hope I book that." I probably won't, but oh man.
I remember being told apparently I was told apparently I got pretty far in the ranking for who I auditioned for. I didn't make it, but I got close apparently from what I was told. Which,
dude,
I've always been. Every time I think back on that, I'm like, I almost wish I wasn't told that, because now I just keep thinking I got that fucking close,
dude. I've been told that it was between me and one other person, like neck and neck, and literally, it was just so Dave was going to a dentist appointment because he had chipped his tooth biting on a tortilla, and he had to get his tooth fixed. This is when they were casting the Hazbin pilot. It just so happened that he had chipped his tooth, and he had to go to the dentist to get his tooth filled back in and whatnot. But like while he was literally at the office about to go in to get his tooth fixed, and Viv was trying to figure out like who to cast for Angel, and it was between two people, and they like everybody was like they couldn't decide. They were torn between me and one other person. And Dave was like, "I like that Michael guy. Anyway, I'm gonna go get my tooth fixed." Anyway, I gotta go get my tooth back. But yeah, like it was just that was the one deciding factor, which is just really funny to me because he kind of like was the coin flip in that situation. And I to this day am just like, who was that other person?
Oh, so you don't know who the other person was?
No, I don't. I want to know. Dave doesn't remember either. He forgot.
It's between you and Chris Sabat.
Oh, I doubt it was anybody like notable.
Oh, I know. There could have been a couple big people that auditioned for that.
There probably were.
Yeah.
There were. I know Dave is like the kind of guy that likes to prioritize the little guy. Like whenever he casts for anything, he usually tries to pick lesser known people rather than bigger, named people, if he can help it.
I remember I auditioned for. I think I told you this back in the day. I auditioned for Husk, and
gotcha.
Yeah, apparently, from what I was told, I made it to the top 5. Apparently.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Which is funny because the voice they went with was very different from mine. So,
yeah.
I'm very curious because mine was a lot more, God, if I can even remember. Mine was a lot more Squidward-ish. Not like nasally, but like that's the kind of performance I did more than anything. I think it was something more like this. I kind of did something in this area for Husk, from what I remember.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine that.
Yeah, it's a much more. Trying to even think of something to compare it to. I just remember it being somewhere in this area. I might be horribly wrong. The audio file's been long gone for years, but yeah. I remember it being something like this when I auditioned for it.
Mm-hmm. God, that's so wild. Like when I auditioned for Angel, Alistair, and Husk, and my Angel, the initial take I did for Angel was like, I did 2 takes. I did one that was closer to my natural voice because I'd always heard that you should include at least 1 take that's more natural for people.
It's like people like. I think James Arnold Taylor, I think, called it like an A, a B, and a C take. I think is what he called it.
Yep. So I usually try to do at least an A and a B. One with like pretty close to my natural voice, but like keeping the essence of what I think the character would have, and then a B take, which is like going all in with a character voice and character personality. And yeah, I basically did my first one, doing my voice, but like just a little more attitude. And then the second one, it was more like the Angel that you heard in the pilot. And then I got to do a callback where they were like, hey, we like that second voice, just refine it a little bit more. And then, yeah, we went from there, and that's what ended up working out. Alistair was just a really crappy, like, hello, it's me, haha, hi, greetings.
See? Hello.
Yeah, see? Welcome, it's the radio, haha. And then I can't even remember what I did for Husk.
I know. I think a while back when we did the podcast, I think you found like the original files, and I think you showed them to me.
I might have. Yeah,
let me scroll up. Actually, I feel like you did send them to me. Oh, you did. Holy shit.
Oh, well, don't show them. Well, I mean, it's not like there's on any contract or anything, but still.
Oh, don't worry. It's not like anyone can see my screen right now. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, fuck the MP4. No.
No.
I always remembered as a kid, my big thing was I didn't know what I wanted to do. I guess like going off of your story with you doing voices as a kid or like trying to do other things like that. I wanted to do puppets for the longest time. Was fucking Muppeteering. That's always what I wanted to do, was that kind of stuff. And I was autistically obsessed with reading credits and voices, and that was like my big thing. Was I would memorize every name, I would memorize how people sounded, I would be like, that's Tom Kenny, that's Gray Delisle, that's Dee Baker, that's this and this and this. And I remember my parents would even do it. We would be at family gatherings. I would be watching, I distinctly remember being 7 years old, watching Mulan on the TV at Christmas. And I remember my parents were like, hey, who plays Mushu? Eddie Murphy. Hey, who plays Mulan? Ming Na. I would literally just memorize, like they'd treat it like a game. Like they would amaze my family members by having
That's
me
really
name
funny.
who plays who.
I mean, hey, that's really good because if it's something that you're really interested in, it's it's good to be knowledgeable and just keep track of all that stuff. Because, God, I wasn't quite as obsessed with names and credits when I was a kid, but obviously when I got more involved in voice acting, it's one of those things that you just pick up and you just now it's just second nature.
I think I remember as a kid, I think one of the first voices I remember I tried to imitate was Meowth from Pokemon. I think that
that was one of the first ones. That was one I tried really hard to get down, and I still think that's one of my favorites to do.
It's fun. It's just doing that kind of New York, kind of like
Yeah, I'm better than everyone. Yeah.
just that nasally.
I love Meowth's laugh. The pre-2007 recast Meowth, Maddie Blaustein's
I know.
Meowth.
Maddie was so talented.
I adore Maddie's Meowths. That's one of my favorite performances ever.
I love that cast, that particular cast of Pokemon so much. Especially Eric Stewart as James the just how flamboyant it is all the time. It's just always so ooh. It's so fun.
I actually remember a while back I had thought about this and I had realized the current cast of Pokemon have been doing it longer than the original cast now.
They have, and I respect the current cast.
Oh, I do too.
I've got my personal favorites and whatnot, of course, but I respect the new cast and they've done great work.
Everyone's favorite cast is usually going to be the one you grew up with. That's just kind of the given with a lot of things like that. But I remember as a kid when I was 10 years old, I remember I watched Diamond and Pearl and I was like, this isn't the same. I couldn't, it never felt the same. No matter how much I tried to watch it, I tried to get into it, I couldn't do it. I could not get into it because I was so attached to those voices. And I think I went back and watched Sun and Moon a few years ago. I watched a few episodes of that, and I'm like, I can get into this a lot more. But I think that's also because they'd been doing it for 10 years by that point, so there was a lot more comfortability with a lot of those actors, I think, doing those characters. So by then, I think it's just a lot easier to really get into the performances. And now I think a lot of those guys are great. I love a lot of the new guys.
Yeah, again, nothing wrong with having your own personal favorites and opinions, because it's you're going to. Just so long as you aren't disrespectful and you understand that, they're doing their job and they love these characters too. It's the same way, we were just talking about Hazbin Hotel. Obviously, for the show that's coming out, I don't know when this is coming out, so maybe this is
probably in a week or two. So
yeah, and anybody listening, the show's already out. Obviously, none of the pilot cast is returning in their roles, and that's perfectly fine. Things happen, and the most important thing is to remember that the new cast loves these characters and loves playing these characters, and it's not fair to them to tell them that you prefer another person and that you hate them or something. You're allowed to have an opinion, but don't be disrespectful. That's the most important thing, is just if you have a certain favorite voice of a character, that's fine. Just don't be disrespectful and understand that others might like the other more, or vice versa. And that these people just love working and love these characters as well.
Oh, that's been my thing. I always get very angry when I see new casts for anything, especially if it's a very dedicated fan base for something. Because I was gonna say, the first thing I immediately think of is Sonic. That's the first thing I immediately think of when I think of recasting, because every single time one of those recasts happens, there is always this massive backlash among the fan base and infighting, and it just gets to a point where I'm just just let the people just let these new guys do what they do. Don't.
Dude, and it's always so wild to me also, because, one thing that always gets me is it feels like when they do finally end up doing recasts, it's when the voice actors are finally accepted by the fan base.
Everybody loves them.
It's they're finally settled into their roles. Everybody loves them. They're oh, good, you did great this time. Let's move on. It's like the only person that like they're at least with Mike Pollock, they're like, we literally can't replace you.
Well, the funnier thing is he re-auditioned, which makes that so
I know
much
he
funnier
did.
to me.
I know he did. Yeah. I mean, so did Jason and everyone else, didn't they? They all re-auditioned, I think.
From what Jason told me, no.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, from what Jason had told me, no. Because when I talked to Jason about it, he made it sound like that they weren't really given the option because a lot of them were just shadow dropped that they were recast. Or they were just like, they just found out from like a new game coming out that they were recast.
Huh.
Because that's what happened with Ryan Drummond and a lot of those guys, is they didn't know they were recast until they found out that there was a new game coming out or something.
Because I remember hearing Ryan talk about, like, or at least I saw like someone post about how Ryan was interested in potentially relocating to New York for Sonic X. But they were like, nah, just let the New York-based company do the cartoon. You guys will keep doing the video games. But then that didn't end up being the case.
Well, yeah, because when Shadow came out, that's when a lot of those VAs found out they were replaced, because that was the first game where they had the New York cast doing it.
Was it Shadow or was it Sonic Riders?
It was Shadow, because Shadow came out in 2005. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I forgot that Shadow came out before Sonic Riders. I don't know. I always get like release dates for some of those games confused.
I remember it was Christmas 2005. I went to a Christmas play at my church, and my family and me were bored out of our mind because we wanted to go back home and open our presents. And I remember that first present I opened was Shadow the Hedgehog, and I played shit out of that for 2 weeks straight.
I bet. Dude, okay. As much as people like to rag on that game, I do love Shadow the Hedgehog.
I unironically enjoy that game.
Me too. Dude, okay. My favorite Sonic game is Sonic 06, and I'm not even joking.
Have you played the fan?
The Project 06?
Yeah.
I love Project 06. It's great. I'm like, every time they have a new update, I always download the new update and have to check it out. I love Project 06. I genuinely think Sonic 06 is a great game that's deeply flawed in a lot of ways. Like, what was it? Someone said something to the fact of like, you know, as many problems as this game has, it is reliable in the way that it will never crash. Like, it never just like crashes on you. It always stays.
That game is
like,
fighting
afloat.
for its life to not crash.
Yeah. It stays afloat. It does not let itself crash. You're like, it'll keep going. It'll keep chugging along. It won't let you down. I
remember I hadn't played Shadow the Hedgehog for a long time, and I remember like for years and years and years and years, everyone saying like it was one of the worst Sonic games. It was terrible, terrible, terrible. And I hadn't played it for years, and I didn't have a GameCube anymore, but I still had my disc. So I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? So I found the game through means I will not say, but I ended up playing it again thanks to a friend, and I played it again after not touching it for probably 8+ years last year, and I was like, nah, I still like this. I don't know. I haven't touched this since I was like 16, and like, nah, I still like this. I still think this is fun. Like,
dude, I really like, when I was back in Ohio, one of the things I really wanted to do was try and grab some of my old consoles and bring them with me, but obviously there's just no way of doing that.
I saw the post of the PS1 and the Dreamcast picture.
Yeah, I wanted to, but I just didn't. I don't know. I got sick near like the mid part of my trip, and I didn't really have time to actually sort through things and try to put them in boxes and get them shipped out. I want to go back sometime later next year anyway, so I'll try to do it then. But what I want to do is get all my old consoles and all my old games and just like try to restore them, and just because I like, you know, I don't mind emulating games, you know, especially if they're like really old and you just can't get them anymore.
Well, that's the thing. But if like some games now that I played as a kid are like $80.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you're not even supporting the company if you buy it. Like, you're just supporting some schmuck on like eBay. So it's like, why even bother? You might as well just emulate it at that point. There's no way to financially support the original creator.
Funny thing, a friend of mine a couple years ago actually had a Dreamcast that I forget. I think he just gave it to me. He sent it, a friend in Canada. He sent it to me because he was like, well, I don't really have a need for this anymore because I got something else. Do you want this? And I was like, sure. He sent me a Dreamcast I've never seen before. It's green and it's see-through.
Huh.
And let me show you a picture of it. I'll send it to you in the thing.
Yeah.
I have never seen a Dreamcast that looks like that before.
What? That looks like my Nintendo 64.
Yeah. No, I looked it up. I guess it was like a European Dreamcast? That's like the best from what I could find. It was like a European type of Dreamcast where they had different colors. I guess they weren't released in the States, but it's region free from what I've looked into about it. So...
Huh, that's interesting, because, yeah, like, I had this particular Nintendo 64 that was, like, the same thing.
Oh my god, my neighbor had that.
Yeah.
I remember I had the see-through purple Game Boy Color.
Mm-hmm.
I miss that aesthetic so much. Like, the see-through plastic aesthetic.
Can I be honest? I had the, what is it, silver? I had the silver GameCube. I'm so sad I didn't have the purple GameCube.
I never saw a purple GameCube in my life.
Really?
I saw silver and I saw the elusive orange GameCube on 5 different occasions. I never saw a purple GameCube.
I want a purple GameCube so bad.
The one that they marketed, the one that was in like every commercial, and I never saw one. Like that's I never knew anybody that owned a purple GameCube. Everyone had a silver GameCube or an orange GameCube. And I did see someone with a white GameCube.
Hold on, I'm going on eBay. I gotta look up GameCube.
I love that this isn't even the interview anymore. This is just us wanting to look at our own
we're just
consoles.
chatting. Holy crap! These are expensive. I'm not paying $200 for a purple GameCube.
Are you looking at eBay or what are you looking at?
eBay. Yeah. Oh my god, there's a disgusting green GameCube.
Is it the same kind of green or is it like a Shrek green?
It's like a Shrek green. Oh wait. No, it is the same kind of green. Here, hold on.
Oh, is it like the?
It's
like
more
the,
of a. It's like a Shrek kind of green, but it is see through.
Okay, I've seen the black GameCube, the orange GameCube, and the silver GameCube out in the.
You're gonna have to put all these images on screen, by the way. Sorry to your editor.
Yeah, no, I have seen all of the ones in the front. Like I have seen all of those except the one on the far left. I have never seen that GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've only seen all the other ones, silver, orange, and black. And apparently the orange one is fairly uncommon?
Yeah. The only one I've ever had was the silver one.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing about that was the silver one had boxes that would say limited edition. And that's, like, the only one
That's the one everyone had!
I remember, I guess the orange GameCube is now like the really uncommon one because that's the one I see go for like $250, $300 when I've looked them up before.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even that pleasing of an orange color to me, honestly. It's like it's too neon of an orange.
Yeah, I don't know. If I was gonna get if I was in the market to buy a GameCube and I had to choose any color. Obviously, I'd go for purple, but like, I don't know. I feel like the only one I wouldn't really want would be the orange one. Myself.
That's it. Like, also, it's just a weird lineup of color: purple, silver, orange, and black. It's like a very weird lineup. I honestly would have liked to see a red GameCube.
That would have been nice.
Or like a burgundy.
I mean,
like
Mario colors, red. Just get like you have Mario. You have a pink GameCube for Kirby. You could do that. Have like Kirby's Air Ride, pink GameCube.
I think there was like a here it is. I was looking for. I feel so bad for my editor right now. I was looking for this because I remember they would have custom GameCubes that would have like a specific game on the thing. I found the fucking Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness GameCube where they would have like
It's
the
just
logo.
the silver GameCube, but with the game logo on the
but
on the
but they would
GameCube
like
flap.
brand the logo in the center.
That's weird. This isn't even a GameCube. It's a Nintendo Pokemon XD console.
What was the? Did you? I had a friend who had the Pikachu N64, like the one that had like the big Pikachu and his and the power button is his toe. I had a friend who had one of those.
Yeah, I think I have a friend that has one too.
I didn't know they made an orange one.
Pikachu. And
See, that's a much better orange. Looking at that orange N64, that's a much better looking orange to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Pikachu N64 is so cute. Also, if you hear an occasional cough, don't mind me.
Well, you're sick, so I
am a little sick. Yes.
You're sick.
Anyway, we should probably fun police a little bit. That way your editor's not suffering so much.
I'm sorry, Yuki. But yeah, no. So I guess back to where we were. Where the fuck were we before this? I forget. Oh. How we got into voiceover. That's where we were. Where we were. Okay. So, I guess with the stuff that's been coming out the last few years, because like we said, you've done a shit ton of indie stuff in the last like 4 years alone.
Yeah.
I guess, what would you say is the one you've enjoyed the most of all the things you've done in the last few years?
That is a really tough one to say because, all of them are special to me in many different ways. And I don't necessarily feel like it's fair to the creators for me to, necessarily pick one out.
Well, I guess not the project. I guess the character you've enjoyed the most.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess as far as like the character that I like have had the most fun playing and have had the most time with, I guess there's just something about playing like a stupid himbo that's just like a, just kind of like a nice guy. Like Serial Designation N in Murder Drones is really fun because it's just my voice, but like super chipper and happy and just nothing could ever go wrong. just very very chipper, optimistic. It's like be in the face of something bad. He's like, oh wow, that looks bad. It's just something really fun about doing a character like that, and that kind of like weird optimism no matter what is just really fun, and I like getting to do characters like that.
The SpongeBob optimism kind of
thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, where it's like, instead of like being nervous in a situation, it's just like oh wow, that sucks. like there's an episode where he's like being, basically like sawed alive or whatever, and he's like having his organs extracted and stuff, and he's just like laughing and he's just like oh come on, a little deeper, yeah, right there, yep. Yeah, that's it. You got it, yep. He's just a good sport. He has no enemies. I love that about that character, and I think it's really fun to play with. Which is funny because people seem to like me more when I play like an asshole, like Angel or Jax.
I've always said my favorite characters in anything is the asshole. That's
they're fun.
I don't even mean like the villain. I like sometimes the villain, but just like I've called it the funny asshole. That's what I like. My favorite character type in anything is the funny asshole.
Oh yeah, no, the funny asshole is like really really fun. I love funny asshole characters.
Like my favorite character in anything is Daffy Duck. That's like my favorite character of all time.
Oh well, yeah, like Daffy Duck is like the epitome of, just funny asshole. He's a dick to everybody, and he's so like flamboyant, but he's just so fun. He's just such a fun dude.
It's like Daffy, it's one of those things I've always wanted to do a Looney Tune character. I don't know if I'd ever want to do Daffy because I don't think I'd ever be able to do that justice because I love that character so much.
And if I remember, is it Eric Bauza that does him for most things these days?
Oh, I fucking love Eric so much.
Eric Bauza is just so talented.
I have spoken to that man twice. That is one of my favorite people I think I've ever interviewed in my life. I love him. He is so nice. He's
just
so
such a sweetheart. I've never had the pleasure of talking to him, but he seems so nice.
You can talk to him about literally anything. He is one of the nicest people you will ever speak to. He is I've wanted to get him back on the podcast, but he's too busy now and it makes me sad.
God, I bet.
I've spoken to him twice, and I remember I DM'd him last year because I wanted to see if he wanted to come on, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I've gotten really, really busy now, so unfortunately I can't really commit to a lot of podcasts." And which I totally understand. I don't have any ill will, which honestly it makes me really happy that now he's gotten to that point that he's that popular that he can just. He's so busy he can just do whatever he wants now, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I think I remember hearing a story about Grey Griffin, like Grey Delisle, and I think it was like she basically can't even do podcasts anymore because she's constantly recording for new projects, things like that, or she barely.
I mean,
has
it's good
time.
to keep busy, right? It's good to keep busy, and like especially if it's all stuff on a SAG contract, you're making good money then. Which is not something to complain about.
I think it was like, I don't know, has there ever been a character you've always wanted to play? Like in anything you've ever like been a fan of or anything like that, is there a character you'd want to try your own version of them?
No, but I can name like a series I've always wanted to be in. Because like the thing is like if there was anything close to it, like growing up, it would have been Sonic, but I would never want the responsibility of that because you know how that fan base is.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
No, never. But like,
are
if
you
I was
saying
given
you'd
the
want to
opportunity,
play? Are you saying you'd want to play Sonic or you'd want to be in Sonic?
I would want to be in Sonic. Growing up, I would have wanted to be Sonic, but these days I look at that and I'm like, "Nuh-uh, that's a can of worms."
No, that's that's walking into like walking into a room of rabid dogs. I don't want to do.
And also, I love Roger Craig Smith. I would not want to take that dude's job unless he like was willingly putting down the role or something.
That's crazy. He's now been doing it longer than like anybody now.
Oh yeah,
it's absolutely crazy to me.
He's incredible in the role. He's definitely made the character his own, and he's like the way Sonic is characterized these days. His voice is absolutely perfect for. Yeah, I really like his interpretation of the character. I definitely hope that he gets to continue doing the character. I remember when he was recast and he made the announcement. It was just like, why? He's perfect.
Yeah, I remember learning the reason, and it was very mundane.
Yep, I know. Yep, I know too. It's just, but at the very least, they did backtrack, I guess, so that's good.
Well, I think it was just because it had to do with him moving, I think, or something like that. I think he moved, and he didn't want to commit to flying back and forth from LA or something like that. And then they were like, "Oh, remote recording is a thing. We'll just do that now."
Yep. Honestly, it's like with actors that are just like, well, now that the pandemic is here, back in 2020 when it was just starting, it's like, well, everybody's doing remote. We could just keep doing this. I'll just move. And so you have Roger moving to like Idaho. You've got some Texas people like Sonny Strait, I believe, moved to Massachusetts or something. There are a bunch of voice actors that just completely moved away. And
who did I interview recently where they moved? I forget who, but there was someone I interviewed not too long ago where they moved out to like fucking like Massachusetts, something like that, and I forget who.
Huh.
And they were in Texas. I don't remember who it was though.
Was it Sonny? Because I think Sonny Strait.
No, I haven't interviewed Sonny.
Oh, gotcha.
It might have been John St. John.
Maybe.
I want to say he moved at some point and he told me about it. I want to say it was him.
Maybe. But yeah, it's like, I know that a lot of voice actors kind of saw the pandemic and the shift into remote recording and were just like, oh, this is viable. I'm just going to move. And so, the people in these studios, though, their idea of like, oh, well, even though remote is possible, we still want you to be local. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of stupid.
I've seen so many people talk about how dumb that is. The mindset of you have to be in the general location, kind of thing.
And it's like, even then, if it's like for specific occasions, for specific recording sessions or something, especially if it's like, you know, something big that'll make it worth it. I'm sure most people are fine traveling on occasion for work. Like, I don't mind traveling down to LA for something. I'm traveling down to LA for Lackadaisy recordings. Like, and I'm allowed to say that, don't worry.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to put that in?
Yeah, no, I'm allowed to say that, don't worry. We're doing all that stuff in studio.
I tweeted this actually today because I had the memory of it. I remember a decade ago, I did an interview. I won't say who, but I remember, I think I actually forgot to cut it out of the recording. But I remember there was a guy I interviewed back in like 2014, and he just casually dropped a character and a show he was on. And I was like, oh, it's cool. And then after the interview was over, I was like listening back to it, and I looked up. There was no information about that show. It hadn't been announced. He basically broke NDA and casually said, hey, yeah, I'm on this show that literally nobody but you now know about.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And he told me what it was and the character. And I was like, what do I do with this information now that I've been told this? Because I definitely think he wasn't supposed to tell me that.
Did they even like message you to say, oh, by the way, I absolutely screwed up?
No.
That's so funny. They didn't even realize.
It was a Netflix show too.
Oh boy, like a voice acting thing, or was it like a film role? Oh,
it was a voice acting thing. It was a Netflix thing. It was for DreamWorks.
Oh, that's a little bit of an oof.
It wasn't a movie. Like it wasn't like a theatrical film. It was for a show, but at the same time, it wasn't Voltron or She-Ra. It wasn't like one of those, but it was one of those shows that DreamWorks did, and I was like, ooh, he definitely shouldn't have told me that.
Yeah.
And he never emailed me saying that or anything.
Well, you know, it happens, I guess. Some people just don't realize. Wait, so you didn't edit it out?
I forgot. I thought I did, and I realized I cut out the wrong part of the interview.
Was there any issue after that, or like was it everything was just hunky dory?
Nobody emailed me. I didn't get a cease and desist. Like nothing. And I mean, the show's been out for 7 years at this point now, so
I think it just went under the radar. Nobody really cared.
I mean, it only got like 1,000 views, so that's probably why nobody cared.
That's fair. Yeah. That's totally fair.
I think back to those days, and I'm like, people could have done that to me constantly back then, and like nobody would have known.
Like, exactly. I can't risk that.
Oh, I know. Now with how much more viewership I've gotten on some of these podcasts, now I'm like, I can't risk that. I can't risk that at all anymore. But I think it was like because remote recording, I do know that you got a shit ton of anime work for a period of time.
I did. For a little bit of time, I did some anime. I got to work with studios like Sound Cadence and NYAV Post and Kocha Sound, who all did work, contract work with Crunchyroll. And at the time, it was still Funimation, but yeah, Crunchyroll. And I got to work on my first ever anime was Akudama Drive, which is by the creator of Danganronpa, which Danganronpa is a franchise I really loved as a older teenager. And so it was just one of those things. It's like, oh my God, that's really awesome. I get to be like this mascot character that's like a little bunny rabbit and just do like these little intermission bits, just kind of spreading propaganda. It was just like this little pink rabbit's like,
the government's really cool. Yeah.
And it's just, I just love getting to do like silly little cartoon voices like that. And, yeah, I got to do that. Big old dragon character named Letty in Dragon.
I was
Goes
gonna
House
say
Hunting.
you got to the lead in an anime.
Yeah, I got to voice a main character in an anime, which is really cool. It's a very niche anime. Not a lot of people have seen it, but that's perfectly fine. I'm just glad I got to do something that, like, you know, to me, I thought that anime was really cute, very fun. It's like a little slice of life adventure of just this cowardly dragon, trying to kind of gain independence, find a place to call home, and ends up picking up a little bird that becomes their child along the way. And so it's just like this little journey of this dragon kind of finding himself and becoming their own person. And it was really cute and fun. And then I was also in an anime called Amame, Warrior at the Borderline, as a character named Nayuta, who's like this. They're not a deer, but they're something. They're like a jackalope or something. They're like a purple jackalope, I think. And like that character's voice, I directly just literally was like, I'm gonna do Eric Stewart's James as like an impression. I was just like, hello, it's me, Nayuta. I'm very much pristine in everything I do. Like, you know, I didn't want to make it go as hard or as like super flamboyant as James, but like that was a specific voice reference. I'm like, I'm gonna try and mimic that. Just like, I think I am better than everybody. Just that kind of cocky, but also a little flamboyant and fruity sound. And then a bunch of others. I did like Prince of Tennis, Kingdom, and a few other things. But yeah, I only got to do anime for like a year because of the pandemic. After the pandemic kind of wrapped up, studios went back to doing in person, which, you know, kind of sucks, but it is what it is. You know, a lot of studios just kind of don't really see much of a point in sticking with remote unless it's for something, you know, with an established cast that is not local, which I don't know. I feel like remote should be considered more important.
Oh no,
but,
I've thought for a long time that remote should be a much more open thing in the industry.
Yeah.
Because I forget who, but I remember somebody I followed a couple years ago had talked about, like, I think it was during the pandemic, they had said, like, I hate living in California. Why can I not just move out to, like, Minnesota and just record? Like, if I have all the equipment I need, why do I need to live in California and run my bank and, like, empty my bank account?
Exactly. It's like, look at Roger Craig Smith again. He moved up to Idaho, where, you know, it's a place that he loves and he's happy. And you know, he's obviously still doing work up in Idaho because he's an established voice talent that lived in LA for years and years and years. But now that he lives up there, it's like, you know, he has his own studio and he can work. Why not just have him work from where he lives? He can do it. You know he can. I get it though, because it's like, especially when you have like newer talent, it's harder to trust someone you've never worked with. If you know the relationship starts remote, it's just, I get it. A lot of people need more of a personal connection and more like experience. But I don't know. I don't know. I just don't like the idea of like needing to be in this incredibly expensive, yeah, just restrictive location-based kind of thing. Just being forced to be in a certain area just to work, especially when it's a job that can be done anywhere. Like God, here's a funny thing that, like, you know, I don't think I've said it publicly yet, but there's a small bit of the Amazing Digital Circus that I recorded in Europe.
Really?
Yeah, I went to Europe, and when I went to Europe in like July and August of this year, 2023, for Gamescom, and while I was in the UK, there was a pickup I had to do for Jax for the pilot of Digital Circus, and I had to go to my friend's house and use their booth for it. And if you go to the pilot, around the part where where the Zubul hole is there, and it's Kinger and Gangle looking down it, and it's like, we're really bad at this, aren't we? As soon as you see Jax going like, huh, huh, Sup, fellas. That's all from. I recorded that in the UK.
Wow.
That
Is it even like
particular
is
trip
it
was
like
recorded
even a
in the UK.
noticeable difference, or does it just sound
No,
exactly the same?
No, it's like it's just like the Sup Fellas was recorded beforehand, but like all the gasps and the sighing and stuff.
Oh, okay.
That's all that was recorded in Europe. I just recorded those. But like that little bit was recorded in the UK, up in oh god, I don't know which town. It was recorded in Will Ryan's house.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
I didn't know you knew Will.
I do
Shit.
know Will. Yep, it was recorded at his house.
Holy shit!
In my friend Chloe's booth.
Fuck, man, I didn't know you knew Will and Chloe.
I do. Yep. I stayed at their place for a night while I was over there.
Holy fuck, that's a small world, right there.
It's short. I mean, Chloe's a voice actor, so it's like I know them, and I think I connected with Will through Chloe.
I'm actually the reason she knows Will. So
really,
yeah, no, I met her through BTVA, and I introduced her to my circles, and through that, she met Will.
Oh, gotcha. Heck yeah. Yeah. No, they're very nice, and they were very accommodating and let me stay with them because I needed to record stuff, and I knew that Chloe had a booth, and the people I was staying with did not. So I literally just went up there, stayed the night, did the recording session the next day, and then I went back to Wales.
Back to Wales.
Went back to Wales. Dude, can I just say, like, I really loved my time in the UK. I like that area a lot. It's really nice, and they've got a really good train system.
I've always wanted to travel abroad. I've never been outside the country. So
I got so lucky because it's like with Billy Bust Up, they just were willing to actually fly me out because we were doing it for Gamescom, and they were like, hey, you know what? We can consider this like a business expense because you're coming to promote the game and you're an actor and you're a person of note on the project. Why not come along? We'll pay for it, and we'll it's just a business expense. And it's just like, well, hell yeah. Why would I ever turn that down? I've never left the US before. Let's do it.
I remember because you were talking about the having to record a line like at a different time for Jax. I remember when I did Suction Cup Man 3, and I am probably the only person that notices this because I recorded it. There's at least 3 lines in that where you can very easily notice that it was recorded at a different time because the voice sounds completely different. Because I did the devil in that short, and I did. This is the kind of voice I did for him, and originally we had to pitch it down because I couldn't get the voice right, so it was actually much higher, and we ended up pitching it down to make it sound more cartoony. But now I can do it. But I remember I recorded all the dialogue for that. And I got a message from Pymations, and he was like, hey, there's like, can you re-record like 3 of these lines? Cause something sounded off with the recording. So I went back and recorded it. I didn't remember what I did. I couldn't 100% remember what I did in terms of how I pitched it. So there's like 3 points in the Suction Cup Man 3 video where you can very easily notice that the voice is deeper in some parts than it is in others because I didn't pitch it right.
I mean, unfortunately, sometimes that just happens. A lot of the time it's like, it can be that you missed it. It can be the director missed it. Sometimes it happens. I know that I have things that I've recorded, upcoming things even that I've recorded, where I'm aware, and I reflected on it, and I'm like, oh, crap. This is off voice, and I've like tried to bring it up, and they're like, "It's fine." I'm like, "It's off." So like, there might be things that come up in the future where you hear something and you recognize, oh, it sounds a little different. I know. Don't worry. Sometimes it happens, and like I don't realize until it's too late.
Don't
like,
come
oh,
to me. Don't come to me acting like I don't know what I did wrong.
Yeah, sometimes it's completely like, sometimes it just happens. You record something, you have an idea of what the voice sounded like, or like you just kind of are given a reference and you just kind of base it off that one reference and whatnot, but you just don't remember exactly where it is. And then you do it again, and then you listen back to it in comparison to a previous recording, and you're like, oh, it's actually not that. Oof.
Yeah, the thing that's with the suction cup man one in particular, one of them is a monologue that I pitched wrong. So it sounds like this for most of the video, and then when you get to this monologue, it's like, how dare you speak to me like this? Like, it sounds much deeper than the other ones, and it drives me nuts every time I hear it, because I'm like, I could have done that better. I could have fixed that.
One thing that like I can think of with myself is for Billy Bust Up, actually, since we were just talking about that a little bit, as far as, I went to Europe to Gamescom to kind of represent that game because they had it at the Humble Games booth. Billy Bust Up, I remember they had me do a little video recording for like a mock cutscene, and back when I first auditioned for it, and it's really funny because the character has changed so much since then. The voice has changed a lot too. So like you listen to,
is it Fibonaccio? I forget his name.
Fantocchio.
I knew it was
Fantocchio.
I knew it was a Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Name.
No, it's the great Fantocchio. And in that game, I'll just do the voice that he does in the cutscene that was from when I first got cast. The voice it did was like
I did something like this, where I'm like, hello, you foolish goat. I'm going to defeat you, or something.
And then over time, he just became way more silly, and he's like,
what are you doing, you silly buffoon? You will stop this at once because it's not funny.
Like, he's become way more comical, way more high-pitched.
It's very zimmy, very zimmish.
Yeah, it's a lot more pitchy.
Yeah.
It's hot. It's a lot. He's got a little more gravel to him to like kind of
give him that gremlin kind of sound.
And it's just, yeah, his character's changed a lot. And, it's one of those things where if they were using that old cutscene in the game, that would suck because it would sound very different. But thankfully, the game has gone through so many revisions and changes over time, because that was before it was even a musical. Now it's a musical. And so the whole thing got reworked over time because of that. And yeah, now we kind of have an idea of what the character sounds like from the get-go. And I'm glad there will not be any inconsistencies there. But no, it happens. Like, I don't know if you know, we were talking about Danganronpa a little bit earlier, but like I know in Danganronpa V3, there's a character named Kaito, I think his name is, or Kaito, I can't remember. He's voiced by Kyle A. Bear, and I just remember for some reason in the prologue, his voice sounds completely different to what it sounds like in the rest of the game. If you ever look it up, let me find the character's actual name. I think it was Kaito.
Oh, did he talk about it or something? Like saying that it was like a
Oh no. I don't think he's ever acknowledged it. I just noticed it. I think he might have been sick when he recorded the prologue or something, because it's like I don't know. It just sounds different to me.
I remember a really interesting one, and I have never had this confirmed, but I'm 100% certain this is what it is. Because in Looney Tunes Back in Action, Joe Alasky plays Bugs and Daffy and like a bunch of characters in it.
Yeah.
There is one line, it is not Joe Alasky. And they left it in the movie. I don't have confirmation on this, but I am almost 100% certain that it's Eric Goldberg doing temp audio, and they accidentally left it in.
Oh, God. You remember which line it was?
Oh, I remember exactly what it was. Have you seen Back in Action?
Of course I have.
It's the part when Bugs is reenacting Psycho, when she opens the shower curtain.
Oh, yeah.
He lands on the floor, and he goes,
Doesn't anyone knock anymore?
It is very clearly not Joe. It is way too nasally and high-pitched. Like, it is very clearly not him. It sounds like Eric Goldberg's Tweety, which is also in the movie. It sounds like his Tweety voice. And
I just listened to it. That does not sound like him. You're right.
No, I have wanted confirmation from that for so long if that is temp audio they just accidentally left in the movie. Because I've never seen that in another film, at least not off the top of my head, where they left temp audio in.
I've definitely... sorry. I definitely couldn't think of any examples off the top of my head, but like I know that I've seen media where they've used like temp audio and kept it in, and like it just never really got noticed.
I know there's like one line in Mitchell's versus the Machines where the mom is very clearly Grey Delisle for one line.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what it was, but I remember it was like, that's not Maya Rudolph when I heard it.
Yeah, sometimes it happens, you know? It's one of those things that, you know, I don't know if it's done on purpose and they're just like, who cares? It's just one line. Because a lot of the time, it's so expensive to get a voice actor back, especially if it's just for one line. Because, you know, when it's a SAG production especially, you got to pay them scale or whatever, you know, their minimum rate is for a session. And if you got to get them back in for like one pickup, it's like, well, let's just get someone to voice match it.
Oh, because Eric did I think Marvin, Tweety. I don't remember who else. I know he did like 3 Looney Tune characters in that movie, and he was already the animation director. So I feel like it was just he probably did temp audio for some of the characters, and they just left that in by accident.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, that sounds fair to me.
Oh, well.
Yeah, no. Because there's also with Digital Circus coming out, because now that's a huge thing.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about it. Let me check what it's at right now as of this recording.
183. I just
183.
Yeah, 183 mil.
183.5.
Oh, you got the 0.5. Oh shit, you got decimals in this shit.
It's at 183,496,347 views as of recording on December 14th, 2023 at 6:22 p.m. Pacific.
We are getting very specific here.
We sure are.
This is being kept for posterity just in case it jumps up another 17 million views in the next 2 weeks.
We'll see. Dude, I'm big. Okay, we're placing bets to see. We're placing bets to see if it'll hit 200 million before the new year.
Oh, everyone? Like everyone involved?
Yeah, we're placing bets. I think it will.
I gotta check the Social Blade. I'm actually curious.
It's gaining 72.6 thousand views an hour.
Okay, so if I do the math on that, 72.6 per hour,
and that's the lower end. It used to be getting like 150,000. That is it as it is dipped over time.
So 72.6 times 24 is 1.742.4 million views per day.
It'll get there.
So times 714 17. Yeah, that'd be 29 million views if it keeps at that rate.
Yeah. And it only needs like 17,000 or 17 million at this point.
What do you win? What do you win if you win?
Oh, nothing.
Oh.
we're not actually betting like any money or anything. We're just really hopeful.
Winner gets to play the next character we introduce.
Right? No, someone was like, I don't even think it's going to hit 180 million, or someone guessed it was going to peak at 175 million by the new year.
I genuinely thought it was going to peak around 160. Like, that's why I'm so surprised where it is now.
As soon as it surpassed Hazbin, I was just like, okay, it's going to slow down hard now. I think maybe some people wanted to like really try to push this past Hazbin because people have hate boners for Hazbin. Maybe once it passes that,
Hasn't it
maybe
doubled?
they'll
It's
stop.
doubled Hazbin now, hasn't it?
It has, yes.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
What's
it's even past Addict.
I was about to say, what's Addict at? Like 150?
Oh no, Addict's at like 159 million last I
Yeah.
checked. Let me check. It's at 100. No, it's at 150. It's still at 158.
Yeah.
Oh God, it was at 158 last I checked. Actually, I thought it would be at 159 now. Yeah, it's just I guess I'm so used to how fast the daily like growth of Digital Circus has been. That's not normal.
Yeah, no, it's just fucking crazy to see a pilot get this popular in such a short period of time.
One thing that I can appreciate from the folks at Glitch is I'm fairly certain everybody in the production team at Glitch, they're all very well aware that this is not normal and this cannot be expected to be the standard, and that they, because a lot of people look at these things and they're like, wow, we're onto something. We're gonna do even bigger and better. It's up and up from here. I think the folks at Glitch know, they're like, this is a winner. We're gonna keep making more stuff in this universe. But they also are of the mindset of like, well, I don't think anything's gonna hit as many views as this has. This is the king right now. This is our breadwinner.
It's always a gamble with second parts a lot of the time. That's the other thing, because sometimes it does as well, sometimes it does worse, sometimes it does better. I'd say more often than not it does a little worse with a lot of second parts.
Oh well, of course, because there are people that watch the pilot, and a lot of those views, it's like a lot of those people liked it or loved it and will probably watch the second one, but also a lot of these people didn't necessarily care for it and probably will just pass on watching the second one. So even that alone is, more people that won't watch it once part 2 comes out, as well as, people that are just rewatching it. Because a lot of these viewers are people rewatching it because there's a large young audience for this show. And, children, as much as this show isn't made for children.
I was good. It got hit with the Sonic.exe Freddy Fazbear type things.
It sure did. It sure did. But we acknowledge that, and thankfully the show is made in a way where it's not filled with a bunch of swearing. I
think that's a huge benefit to it too. Is that there's no.
That's not to say that it's not filled with mature themes, because it's definitely filled with mature themes. Like it's not.
Oh yeah.
Intended for the child's brain, but it's definitely something that won't influence them to be terrible. I hope. But yeah, it's just it's so crazy because Lizzie Freeman, the voice of Pomni, has been doing conventions the past few weeks, and she made it clear that she added Pomni to her banner, and every time a child walks past, it's weird if a child does not recognize Pomni. Like every time a kid walks past, they recognize Pomni immediately, and they go up to her table and are like, "Oh my God, I love Digital Circus," and it's just apparently her table, her line was huge. Just people absolutely loved the character and the show, and it's gotten way more attention than I think she ever expected.
All right, it's so crazy, especially when it's somebody I've interviewed. Because I interviewed Lizzie, I think 2 years ago.
Was that back when she was still doing Enna or Ina?
It was maybe right before or right after she started doing that. I think it was right after.
Okay,
I need to check. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I need to check.
Oh, that's Trisha.
Oh, which one?
Ina is the
Ina's
smiling.
The fucking I forgot.
Joel
name.
G.
Joel G.
Yeah.
Trish, I Trisha at Ina. That was I
Nah, Trisha was their other very big role.
Yeah, I think it was around the time she got Trisha. That's what I was thinking.
Gotcha. Nice.
Yeah. I didn't know. I literally know nothing about Ina. I just know what it looks like. So
yeah, no, Ina's awesome. I actually think it's really cool. I've not seen as much of it as I'd like to admit. I've only seen bits and pieces of it, but just everything from the aesthetics and sound, the music is just so cool.
I think like one of the coolest things to me about Digital Circus, and I think this is a very personal thing, is seeing Alex in that.
I know, dude. He kills it. His Kane. He's perfect.
I have known Alex since I was 13. So
Oh, that's awesome.
no, I knew him back when he did countdown videos, like gaming countdown videos and things like that. I knew him long before the voiceover stuff. Like, I was a huge fan of him. And that's actually something I did cringy gaming countdown videos at one point. They're all gone. You can't find them. But I did those because of him. And he had this whole community of gaming countdown people. And they all did the same kind of content as him. And now seeing him in this massive fucking pilot is so cool.
As like the... You know, obviously Kane is only there for like bits and pieces of the beginning and end, but like they're the face of Digital Circus because they're the mascot character. So it's like seeing, and since it's, you know, hey, since Digital Circus is the, you know, most popular indie animated pilot at this point, you could say that Alex is playing the king of indie animation.
Yeah,
like the mascot of indie animation right now on YouTube, which is really crazy.
I do really need to get him because I've known him personally for a long time. I've known him, I think, personally since I was like 18, 19.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know, just seeing where he is now, it's just fucking crazy with this pilot. Everybody. It's just absolutely amazing seeing where this has gone.
Yeah, here, actually, I'm pulling up the audition sides because I want to like find something for you.
Oh, really?
I can't like actually send them to you because I don't know if that's a breach of anything, but in the audition sides for Digital Circus, it specifically said for Kane, you know, Kane is loud, theatrical, and charismatic, like a game show announcer or a car salesman. He's almost always really enthusiastic. He just wants to have fun. Vocal qualities, loud and announcery, adult masculine, fast, spoken from the chest, deepish. Mood board. Alex Roshan's take on Spampton. I think we should probably even just reach out to him for the role, because he just hits the nail on the head.
I had heard that apparently he got that because of Spampton.
He did, yep.
Yeah, I'd heard that before.
Gooseworks is just a huge fan of Deltarune and Undertale, and, you know, I'm pretty sure most people that are fans of Undertale and Deltarune, and especially of Spampton, watched Alex's dubs, because... Let's face it, that is iconic, and I think is basically everybody's default headcanon voice for Spampton.
I'm not even into Undertale, but it's anytime I ever saw something blow up from Alex, I was just like, good for him. That's so fucking cool, seeing him just from where I knew him from as a teenager to where he is now. Like,
yeah, just very cool.
Yeah, I guess the other thing is we hadn't talked about Lackadaisy. Because that's one of the other big ones. No,
yeah,
and that's one of the other big ones. And I love the aesthetic of Lackadaisy so much. That's probably one of my favorite looking indie shows. I like indie pilots
because it's
I've
inspired
seen.
by the old Don Bluth kind of like hand drawn 2D animation, where it's like it's got the kind of Xerox lines in there and everything, where you still see the old outlines. And so sometimes because it's digital too. It's like those outlines don't actually exist in the sketch process. They have to kind of add them back in there. But like it's such a good aesthetic and it looks so nice. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I love some of the comments on the pilot where they saw all of the, you know, all the sketch lines in the characters, and they're like, the animators are so lazy, they forgot to clean out the sketch lines. It's like, bro, that's the style.
Have you never seen like a mid 60s to like mid 70s Disney movie when like they all did that? Like,
and like, I hate to break it to you, that doesn't make them lazy. They spent like additional hours of their time to put those in.
No, and back in the day, that was a thing they did called Xeroxing, where they would literally like scan the pencil sketches onto the animation.
Yeah, and what's funny is like back then, sure, it was done back then as a cost-cutting, time-saving measure, but like nowadays, it's just an aesthetic that people have come to love, and so it's like even if
it created its own style, even if it was just used to make the movie process cheaper.
Yeah, no, like I loved the way it looked. Like, especially watching things like was Oliver and Company technically Xerox? I think that had aspects of Xerox.
I'd have to look that up because I think they stopped doing Xerox in the early 80s.
Let me double check. I think Oliver and Company still had a little bit of Xerox in it.
Okay, yeah, they did do Xeroxing a little bit from what I'm seeing. They did it primarily with
the Poodle or whatever.
Well, with the Poodle, and they did it with some of the other dogs, like the ones he's friends with. They did it with a couple of them.
You mostly see it in like the Aristocats, though. Like the Aristocats is a great example of that.
The first one I immediately think of is Jungle Book, because that's the one that's the most. I think it's the most noticeable. The sketchiness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that sketchiness look is just so good. Like, it's got its own style to it, and they had to actually go out of their way to try and figure out how to make the lines look natural and look like it came from that actual kind of era. They had to they had to find an old comic strip that had like the cleanest possible kind of line made with like that, and they had to extract it and create a pen based off of it. It's crazy.
Like they had to look like a 40s 50s era comic, or like
something like that. Yeah. Like they had to go out of their way to research deep and find just references and like kind of go from there.
No,
they did a lot of good research to try and get that style down.
What was it like playing that character? Because that might be one of my favorite roles you've ever done. Is in Lackadaisy. That might be one of my favorites.
It's really fun. It's like we got to record Lackadaisy ensemble style.
That's great.
Yeah, the one thing though is that it was like when I was recording it, I feel so bad because I was still recording it when I was in a weird situation where I didn't have a booth yet. I was still in Ashley, my partner's old apartment where we were in the process of moving to her at the time recently deceased mother's house to try and fix it up and sell it and then move back up to Washington. But like we were in the process of moving down there, and I was still up there, and we didn't have a booth set up because I wasn't expecting to record stuff yet, and I had to get a makeshift booth made and everything. So it's like the setup wasn't perfect, but we made it work. And I don't think most people can even tell that there's issues with the recording environment because the mixing people did a great job fixing everything up. But yeah, it was so much fun, and being in a booth like that with absolutely no sound, in isolation or whatever. The entire apartment complex could hear me when I had to do screams, which sucked. Wasn't a fan of that. So I was a part of me was a little self-conscious about things. We ended up re-recording the screams inside of my my partner's car because I felt like I could do a lot more like screaming in an insulated vehicle, and so we re-recorded the entire like Sudden Circus poem just inside of my girlfriend's car. And if you listen to it, you can kind of hear the boxiness that it's in a car, but the sound design team did a great job of masking it. It's fine. It's kind of fun.
I love the idea of like somebody, like if I get up over here away from my mic, there's somebody walking by the car and just hearing someone screaming inside their car. It's like, what the fuck is going on over there?
A circus comes to town.
Yep, just screaming.
Someone's having a mental breakdown in their car.
Yeah, no, it's like, who cares? But yeah, no, I love Rocky, and like I feel bad because well, I don't feel bad, but one of the things as far as the pilot goes, it's so condensed because it's it's supposed to be its own isolated thing to kind of introduce people to Lackadaisy. But because there's only so much you can do to introduce these characters in this setting and the plot in a 20 to 30 minute pilot, there's obviously a lot of things they had to make sure they just kind of did really fast. And so characters kind of don't have much room to be explored, like to have much nuance to them. They just kind of have to be explored in certain like areas as far as like this is their base personality. This is what you can expect from them for the most part. And it's a pretty streamlined, simple story. It's not to say it's a bad story. It's fun. It's a a little outing, rum running and stuff, and you get introduced to Mordecai. But there's little things you wouldn't know and understand, like little references that are in there that you wouldn't get unless you read the comics. Like there's a scene where you see Ivy in the car, the little female cat. You see her look back and you see Mordecai's glasses and he's aiming the gun, but he chooses not to shoot. You wouldn't really know unless you read the comics. You would think he's just giving up for some reason. In the comics, you kind of know that he does that because he has a previous relationship. Like he knows Ivy, and doesn't want to do that. It's like there's little things you wouldn't really get unless you really knew stuff from the comics. But like now that we're getting to do the show, we'll get to start from the very beginning of the comic and actually explore things and give people a proper introduction to these characters, which will be really fun.
And it's funny because I actually didn't I'm the weirdo that didn't realize it was based on a comic until I think right before the pilot came out.
Yeah, no, the comic's been going since like 2006, I think.
Yeah, that's what blew my mind even more, that I'd never heard of it, is that I didn't even realize it was a comic, I think, until like a couple months before the pilot actually came out. Because somebody had said, like, yeah, no, it's been going like 16-something years. I was like, I've never heard it. I've never seen anyone talk about it.
I made Tracy feel so unbelievably old when I told her that I was 11 when Lackadaisy first released. I was like, oh yeah, I looked it up. The very first chapter came out when I was 11. And she's like, oh. Oh. God. It's just so cursed. The passage of time is cruel.
Oh no, the older you get, the more the more and more you realize how old things are when you were a kid, and then you feel even more fucked up when you realize how old they are. Like, I was looking up shit a couple days ago. So like, oh, the SpongeBob movie's going to be 20 next year. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Finding
you don't
Nemo
think
turned
about
20
these
this year.
Yep. I'm as old as Toy Story, basically. So it's like, I'm turning 30 pretty soon. Guess what's turning 30?
I can think of a few things. Incredibles.
Oh,
I know turns
a Goofy
30
movie.
next. Oh shit! Yeah.
Wait, when did the Goofy movie come out? Actually,
95. Yeah, it came out in 95.
It did come out in 95. Okay, I
it
thought
was like
so. Yeah.
It was a few months before I was born.
Yeah, it was April.
Oh no, that was. Oh, I thought it came out like in October. Okay, so no, that was like almost like.
Oh no,
that was like 9 months before I was born.
Yeah, no, a Goofy movie came out April 7th, 1995.
I know that I'd have to look, because I remember looking at like the box office for like what movies were out when I was born. Mm-hmm. Toy Story was still out when I was born, but it didn't come out. I think it was like.
Wait, were you born in December?
I was born in January of 96.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
okay, I was a June baby in 95.
I shared the same. Nothing came out on my birthday, but From Dusk Till Dawn came out the day after I was born. So, which I like that movie a lot. Trying to see if there's The Lawnmower Man 2 Beyond Cyberspace.
Wow.
And Biodome, one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, came out 4 days before I was born.
Oh boy.
I don't got anything special. I think Space Jam came out the year I was born.
Well,
Muppet Treasure Island came out the year I was born. Oh, it came out exactly a month after I was born.
Nice.
I got Muppet Treasure Island. I am very content with that.
Yeah, my mom told me that like the first movie I think she ever took me to see in theaters was, I think, Toy Story. Obviously, I was like a few months old, so I don't think I really would have known much about it. But when I was a little kid, that movie was just the movie that I would always, rewatch on VHS all the time. Run the tape back and forth until the tape just got totally destroyed.
I will put myself on the spot here. The first movie I was taken to, from what my parents had told me, was Bug's Life. And I would have been 2 when that came
I know
out.
people that absolutely like say, "Oh, that movie's mid," and I'm like, "No, I love that movie. I love
I
A Bug's
like it.
Life."
I really like it. I have one big issue with it, but
Yeah.
I do really like that movie. But
Yeah.
from what my dad has told me, they took me to see it when I was 2. I'd never been in a theater before. I hated it because it was really loud. And we got a Heimlich toy, I think, from like McDonald's that day.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently I got a really upset stomach and we had to leave the theater because I like was basically stuck in the bathroom for 20 minutes, and we left my Heimlich toy in the theater, and I was very mad at my dad the rest of the night.
Oh no.
Yeah. I have no memory of it. That's just what my dad has told me. He's like, yeah, we took
That's
you to the
funny.
theater. You had gut problems. You hated how it sounded. And then you left, and we left your Heimlich toy, and you were mad at me the whole day.
Oh no. Oh man. Well, I mean, at least you don't remember it, I guess. Like,
No, I remember the first movie I remember seeing in theaters was the first Pokemon movie, and I was 3.
oh man, I don't even know if I saw that one in theaters. I know I saw Pokemon 2000 in theaters.
I remember that one too. It was me, my mom, and my sisters, and my mom fell asleep in the theater. when...
You know, I remember I remember distinctly forcing my mom to take me to go see Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie.
That movie unintentionally fucked me up and made me actually afraid to go to theaters for a couple years.
Really?
Yes.
Was
it
were so
was
many
not
people
the-
trying to get those cards?
It was not the movie's fault. It was something at the theater that did.
Oh no.
So it was the second time I saw the Yu-Gi-Oh movie because I was that kind of kid. I went to go see the Yu-Gi-Oh
Now, was it the
movie.
second? Did you go see it a second time because you wanted to get more of the cards? Like, I don't know if you're.
No, I just
Peter
wanted to
was doing
see
the
it
thing.
again because I was 8
Oh,
and the
okay.
Yu-Gi-Oh movie was the coolest fucking thing ever when I was 8.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
Wow, they actually have the names of the cards and the descriptions and everything. Wow.
Oh my god, I can't believe they scanned the cards into the movie.
Wow.
Oh, man, going back, that movie is terrible.
It's awful.
It's like the one, like, I can watch the Digimon movie is a mess, but it's still really fun to me. I enjoy the first 3 Pokemon movies. The Yu-Gi-Oh movie is dog shit. Like, it's not even fun
Yeah.
shit. Like, it's just bad.
Yeah.
I remember rewatching it a few years ago. There are a shocking amount of animation errors in that movie too. Like, it's really distracting in some spots. But
Yeah.
I remember I went to go see it. I was 8 years old. Now, the movie Seed of Chucky was coming out around that time. And that was like the last Child's Play movie for a long period of time. And I remember they had this big standee in the theater of Chucky and Tiffany. And I remember that scared the fuck out of me so bad that I refused to go to a theater for 2 years because of that thing.
Oh man.
They kept that thing in the theater 2 months after it was not in theaters anymore. I actually found a picture of it. Yeah, this.
Oh, let's see it. Editor, put that in.
Yeah, that
Oh my
scared the
gosh.
shit out of me as an 8-year-old.
That's not even that bad.
Yeah, but I didn't like dolls.
Oh
Is
yeah,
the
and they're
thing,
freaky. They're freaky,
like-
creepypasta dolls. So it's-
Like those kind of dolls, like those Victorian-ish kind of dolls, I hated as a kid. They like scared the shit out of me. So seeing a stitched up creepy ass doll that's like 7 feet tall standing right by the door.
yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. That genuinely gave me nightmares for a week straight because
Okay,
of
so
that standee.
Assuming knowing what your reactions are to like these kind of horror things as a kid, and knowing you watched SpongeBob as a kid, which I all of us did.
I think I know where you're going with this. Where you?
If they had the episode where they had the fucking creepypasta Squidward reference in it before they cut it and replaced it, if they had aired that when you were a kid, do you think that would have scared the crap out of you?
Okay, so let me tell you a story about SpongeBob from when I was a
Yes.
child. So, the Wormy episode, when
Oh, yeah.
I was 7 years old, I remember watching that on the couch. I was like 6 or 7, and I remember watching that on the couch. I was by myself, and I remember when the scene happened where the butterfly shows up and it like lands on SpongeBob's helmet, and they do that like that hyper realistic like zoom in footage. No joke. I remember how I did to this day. I jumped like 2 feet in the air, screamed at the top of my lungs, and ran into my parents' bedroom crying at that. That genuinely scared the shit out of me. I think that would have scared the shit out of any kid, is the thing.
Yeah.
Nobody would have expected that, because they don't hint that that's going to happen at any point when it happens.
Yeah. I've got to find that scene again real quick.
Oh no, as an adult now, it's really funny. But like as a 6-year-old, that's fucking terrifying, especially if you didn't know it was going to happen. I also found out that's not even a butterfly, it's a horsefly.
Oh god.
Yeah, no, that's footage of
Hold
a
on,
horsefly.
but actually though, there are kids that have like actual like phobias and crap of of those things. So it's like, I honestly don't blame you. I think I do agree. I think that most kids would be like,
oh, I was afraid of butterflies as a kid because of that.
oh man.
I'm not kidding. I was terrified of butterflies because of that as a kid. Like, I was afraid of, like, a butterfly landing on me or, like, getting in my face because of that special. Or because that... I still don't really like caterpillars. I still don't really like them. Like, I just think caterpillars are just fucking gross more than anything.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, someone had like a thing of tomato worms, and tomato worms are fucking massive. Like, they are disgustingly huge. I remember they had like a plastic cup with like 2 of them, and they didn't tell me what it was. I was in like 6th grade, and they were like, "Hey, Michael, come look at this." And I was like, "What?" And they put it like directly up to my face. And it like, I genuinely almost punched them in the face. Like, instinctively, it scared me so much.
Well, it kind of deserved. Kind of asked for it.
They didn't know I was afraid of caterpillars, is the thing.
Oh, they didn't? Okay.
No, they didn't. They just did it because they were like, "Hey, Michael,
this
this is really cool. You want to see this?" No.
Oh, no. Oh, that's it. That sucks. Oh, no.
Oh, were you ever, like, afraid of a fucking weird thing like that as a kid? Like, any... Like,
I was terrified of Venus flytraps.
That's very hyper-specific.
I'm still a little peeved out by them. It's not even because I think they're gross or anything. I don't even think that it's actually that scary, because it's like, if you actually put your finger toward it and it like clenched onto you, it's not like, you know, it's not like you die.
Yeah, no, they can't do anything. Like,
yeah, like, it's not actually that bad. But I guess like, it's not because of
Little Shop, or
it's not because
like
of Little
that.
Shop. It's not because of anything. I think it's literally just like, I saw something about Venus flytraps and like what they do, and something about it kind of gave me the ick, you know? It kind of grossed me out a little bit, and I'm like, I can't do Venus flytraps. I'm so I think it's also because I had to do like this this field trip in grade school where we went to some kind of nature thing, and we saw different kinds of plants, and they gave me a Venus flytrap, and I was so fucking freaked out by it. I put it in a paper bag, and I gave it to my mom, and I'm like, "Mom, throw it away."
Mom, dispose of this immediately.
My mom didn't throw it away. She put it on our back porch, and it stayed there for months, and I hated every single month it lived there.
Wait, did it like grow more? Did it like
No.
Did she just replant it, or what'd she do?
She just put it there, and it just existed there. It like she, you know, took care of it. It didn't really like, you know, obviously they don't grow to be as huge as in Little Shop, obviously. But yeah, no, we had it for a few months. From what I remember, and then I think after I complained about it enough, they finally got rid of it.
You should have taken some scissors and just like cut it and just be like, "Oh, Mom, the Venus flytrap died." You should have. Just...
No, I think no, because even then, like,
did you not even want to go near it?
the thing is, though, is that like, as this is something I still have issues with. Like, I recognize that like plants, you know, especially, you know, with something like a Venus flytrap, where you look at it and it kind of looks like it's, you know, almost alive the same way we are. Even like they are alive. Like plants obviously do have lives, and like they're aware in ways that like, you know, we can't comprehend. But it's like, even back then, I just couldn't bring myself to like harm plants, because it freaked me out, because I would always be like, they're alive too. It's weird. I don't want to cut it. It just freaks me out.
Now, have you ever seen like those fucking like those giant flowers that are in like the Amazon? I think it's like the thing Vileplume is
Okay,
based
but those
on.
are cool. Those are like really cool. Yeah.
I've always been fascinated by those, but kind of terrified. And also, if I recall correctly, those things apparently smell like dead flesh.
Oh.
Yeah, I think they said
I've
like,
never
they're
been
like
near them, so I
they're
wouldn't
like one
know.
of the. I think they said like they're one of the worst smelling flowers in the world. Like I think they literally say that like they smell like a rotting body or something like
Yeesh.
that. I'm trying to even think of a thing I was afraid of, because like caterpillars is like the one thing I distinctly remember being terrified of. Like I can look at one behind glass. Like if it's like at a zoo or like at a museum or something, I can look at it behind glass. But if you like have the caterpillar like on your hand, I'm like, no, I'm not going near that thing. No.
I don't like touching snakes or certain like reptiles. I don't really like the texture of them.
I have touched a rattlesnake's head once as a 7-year-old at a zoo. It was like a guy who had a rattlesnake, which in hindsight, not the best idea to have a rattlesnake just out. But I remember he was like, hey, do you want to touch his head? And I was like, yeah. And I like petted its head. And in hindsight, I think of that as an adult, and I'm like, you know, some asshole kid would probably do something to that rattlesnake that would piss it off, which is probably not the best idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a friend. I have a couple friends who are like terrified of snakes. I always thought snakes were fucking cool.
I'm
Like,
not terrified of snakes, thank God. I don't really like touching them. I don't like being like, you know, near them either, especially if I don't like know how friendly they are. But I'm not like terrified of them. I can definitely be around them. I just I'm not really a huge snake person.
I know that there was like my dad has told me apparently I was terrified of birds when I was a kid.
Well, yeah, they're created by the government to track us. They're not real.
I think it was like my dad would say like, oh yeah, no, if we were like out in public and there was like pigeons or sparrows like on the ground, like you would not even go near them. Like if they even tried to get near you or fly near you, you would just start crying. Like,
Hold on. That just reminded me. So we went, me and my housemate Dave, and our friend John Van Doren. Do you know John Van Doren?
I know the name. Is he a Newgrounds guy? The name sounds
No,
familiar.
he's a voice actor. We knew him from BTVA to some extent, or at least I met him on BTVA, and I became friends with him. But Jay Van Doren is what he goes by online. But he lived with us for a few months while he was getting his stuff situated, well, to move down to like LA. But me, him, and our housemate Dave Capdeville went to New York City to see Beetlejuice and just kind of enjoy the town because we all wanted to go. And while we were there, you know, it's New York. There are so many birds on the ground at all time.
Pigeons are like rats in New York.
Yep.
There's like
You
thousands
see
of them.
pigeons everywhere. And I just remember I was talking to Dave, and I'm like, Dave, how much money for you to like kick a pigeon? like Dave, if you could get $1 million to kick a pigeon with the intent to kill, would you kick a pigeon? He's like, $1 million is a lot of money. I'd do it for 100,000.
No, have you ever seen the Filthy Frank bit where I think it was like, would you smash a puppy to death for $18 billion? I'm like, 18 billion? Like, I would kill 100 puppies for $18 billion. Like,
To be fair, I don't think I could actually.
no, I would not be able to kill a puppy. But if you told me like, would you kick a pigeon for $18 billion? So like, Dude, I'd kick a pigeon for 5,000. Like,
Okay, but like not even intended to kill. If you like just kick a pigeon to the point where it's just like not hurt, but it's like a little annoyed or something.
Yes.
Like nudge a pigeon with your
Yes.
foot or something.
Yes.
Like just kind of
Yes.
kick it, or like that way it just leaves.
Yes.
Like for 5,000, sure. If you're not hurting it, yeah.
I remember someone had said like, would you kick this thing for $100? I'm like, yeah. And I remember I just took my foot over and I just nudged it with my foot. I'm like, no. And they were like, that doesn't count. I'm like, yes, it does. That counts as a kick. I nudged it with my foot. That's a kick. Technically, that is a kick. Give me my $100.
Like, you got to be specific. You got to put down like. Wow.
No, that's what I said. I was like, no, you said kick it. That counts as a kick. Like.
Yep. Exactly. I love hypotheticals.
The intrusive thought hypotheticals.
Exactly. They're my favorite.
Would you pinch a monkey for $10,000?
Pinch a monkey?
Like a chimpanzee. I'm talking a chimpanzee. Like could rip your arm off chimpanzee.
Oh, okay. No.
I'm talking Jordan Peele, nope, chimpanzee. Like I'm talking not that fucked up of a chimp, but I mean like just a chimpanzee.
How much money?
10,000.
That's not even going to cover the medical bill.
25.
No, that's not even going to. Well, maybe it will, but no. That's only going to go towards the medical bill.
Oh, you know, the chimp.
And also, I'm probably going to lose an arm.
The chimpanzee might be into it. You don't know. It might not rip your arm off.
I don't want to lose I don't even want to risk losing an arm.
Chimpanzees are fucking terrifying.
They are, yes.
When you realize how powerful a monkey is, it is like actually terrifying.
For real, dude. I just like I do not want to mess with anything that I know can actually like do genuine harm.
Do you remember that like woman like 15 years ago who had like a
was it the lady that had her face ripped off?
Got her fucking face ripped off.
Yeah,
by a chimpanzee.
I remember. I feel so awful.
And I think
like,
they
dude hearing the phone call to the ambulance.
You can hear the fucking chimp in the background like screaming. I think they said they had to like. I think it took like 30 minutes for it to die after the police intervened or something like that. Like that's how much adrenaline the monkey had. Monkeys are scary. Like actually scary animals.
I feel so genuinely awful for that lady too, because it's like she's blind and like there's so much stuff just that like her entire life has changed.
Well, I remember that one woman in Nope that like shows up for a single scene, like is supposed to be like a reference to her because she like has her face covered by like a veil, and you see it like one time and it's like her like teeth are like fully exposed. I think like her eyes are missing or something like that.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Fear.
Fear. We're talking about fear.
Fear.
Yeah, great subject matter.
This has become like a Joe Rogan level podcast.
Yeah, we're not even talking about like anything specific to like any career stuff.
This isn't even like career stuff anymore. This is like just
we start talking about like, oh, like how'd you get into voice acting? By the way, Looney Tunes. By the way,
monkey. Monkey.
Yeah,
fear.
Funny monkey.
Fear of monkey.
Monkey. Haha. Monkey.
Oh, yeah, Death Battle. That's like the other thing I was thinking of. I was like, shit, what's the other thing I was trying to remember? Oh, yeah, Death Battle.
Yeah, because back in the day,
you were Shazam, wasn't it?
I think I was just Shazam. Yeah, I did Shazam for Death Battle, doing Shazam versus Captain Marvel, and that was really fun. And then a while after that, way after our podcast, I did Goku Black for Goku Black versus Reverse Flash. Which that one is really fun because they got my friend Val who did the Reverse Flash memes on Twitter that people like watched a lot.
Oh my god! Okay.
Yeah, the guy that did the like it was me.
It was me, Barry.
I made you nut at sonic speed.
I jerked you off at supersonic speed.
That way you thought you nutted at just a woman's touch. Yeah. Yep. That video, they got him to do Reverse Flash, which is absolutely perfect. And I got to do that, and then they had me also do Goku for like Vegito versus Gogeta, and then Goku versus Superman, the reboot.
I was gonna say the Goku versus Superman #3, I think.
Yeah, they didn't call it 3 though. They just were like, it's its own thing. It's a reboot. It is technically 3 though. Yeah. It's they had a lot of regret for like I think the second one in particular, and some of the characterization choices I think they made with certain things. And so their goal going into the third one was like, hey, they're not actually trying to kill each other. They're just having a good old time. They're just sparring. They're just playing, and they're like trying to take each other to their limits or whatever. And yeah, like by the end of it, I don't know if you've seen that one. They're just friends, and they're just like, ha, that was fun.
I think of the SpongeBob. It was like, what are you doing? Get back here and kill each other. It's like,
yep. Yeah, no, death battle sessions are generally really fun. They're good folks.
I guess what is it also? Because with Death Battle, it's one of those instances where you actually get to play a legacy character like Goku.
Yeah,
or like that.
With Goku, for instance, they wanted to go for, because like obviously Masako X of Dragon Ball Z Abridged fame was voicing Goku for the previous 2 Death Battles, Goku versus Superman 1 and 2. They had decided to go in a different direction where they wanted to have something that could be taken just a little bit more seriously to the direction of like the show. And they wanted, like in the audition sheet, it said they wanted a Sean Schemmel kind of impression. I didn't really want to do a direct Sean Schemmel.
That's just what everyone does. That's the other thing. If you do Goku.
Yeah, I didn't want to just do a direct like Sean Schemmel, because I don't think I could, even if I tried. Like, hey, it's me, Goku. Like
I'm gonna do Ian James Corlett. That'll throw him off.
Yeah, like trying to do. I don't know. That like when I know Sean is like very expressive, and like he can do the like, oh man, like very very well. But like it's hard to like replicate that exact voice. But I just kind of took aspects of how Sean plays the character and like the soul of it, I guess, and like that childlike whimsy, but also when he gets serious, he can kind of get a little more grit to it. But I also wanted to like make it a good mishmash between Sean and Masako X, because I didn't want it to be too jarring, I guess. And like it helps that my voice is naturally a bit higher than Sean's anyway. So it just kind of it feels like it's a decent in-between for both. Yeah, I just, not really much went into, hi Kat, not really much went into,
I heard it for like half a second. I was like,
I know. Yeah, she's being a brat. Hi Rose. She's locked in here for a bit. But, yeah, we didn't really take too much time finding the voice. We kept it pretty close to my natural voice. Just, if anything, my Goku voice sounds basically almost the same as what I do for N in Murder Drones, which is just my voice, but very cheery and optimistic and like just goofy.
So it's like, because I've always loved talking to people about their vocal ranges in particular, because it's something where I think it's like when you really get used to how your voice sounds, you get so much more into the idea of how to experiment with your range. Because there are some people I know who have very high-pitched voices that have a lot of trouble going deep, and I've seen people who have deep voices who really can't go that high, things like that.
Yeah, but then people just in the middle that are able to do both.
It's one of those things where I don't want to sound egotistical, but it almost sounds like I don't want to sound like that when I say, because I've had a lot of people tell me that like I kind of have like the perfect middle range when people have talked to me about my voice. And I don't like saying that because it makes me sound egotistical, but I do have a very medium voice. like a very middle ground kind of voice.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily wrong to say, because like it is true. You know, you have a very like mid-ranged, you know, in the middle kind of voice. So do I. Like I'm a little higher.
I'd say
I'm a
you're
little
more. You're
like,
mid. I'd
mid-high.
say you're mid high is what you are.
Yeah, I'm around mid-high, but like even then, it's not like, you know, you, because you're in that kind of placement, you know, when there's like a natural human range that your voice can do, like especially with training and whatnot and experience. You know, you can get your voice lower and higher. If you've got a naturally super low voice, good luck getting it super, super high. That's like a lot of work and training.
Oh yeah, like
you can
I've
do
heard,
it, but like it's gonna be hard.
I've heard Fred Tatasciore go high on a few occasions, but Fred's high sounds like a deep-voiced guy trying to sound high-pitched. Like,
Yeah.
And that's not even a knock against Fred Tatasciore. It's just like you can tell that it's a guy who's not, that's not usually what he does kind of thing with his voice. Because, like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to even think about, like, the highest I can go. Because there's, like, falsetto high, and then there's, like that kind of high.
Like there's those kinds of like cartoony hype, like
if I were to do a cartoony, high-pitched voice, it's around here. Hello, it's me, super
that's-
cartoony.
That's higher than I can go, because I think with that kind of voice,
I like the highest I can go is like right here, because mine's, though, when I go really high, I get a lot more nasally than I normally am.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, mine's a little nasally too. I think you can hear it.
yeah.
But like that's,
it's like there's that's kind of like that is the nasally high pitch, because there's different ones. There's like the nasally high pitch, and then there's like
kind of the throaty high pitch where, you know, it's up here and it's throaty though.
It's like
so it's more raspy.
the Digimon Pokemon protagonist.
the
kind of
Digimon,
voice.
like
like Beast Boy from Teen Titans, kind of.
Reminds me
that kind of high pitch.
It reminds me a lot of Brian Beacock, what you did there. Like a lot of
Monokuma.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
You know,
Yeah.
that kind of sound. Yeah.
I hear like Takato from Digimon in that, like that very kind of kiddish, high pitched, like 11 to 13 kind of voice, like that kind of area.
Yeah, exactly. Just that kind of. Oh man, I'm gonna be late for school. I better not take too long.
You know, that kind of just raspy.
I got the toast in my mouth. Let's go.
I was just about to say. Oh
Yeah.
God.
It's like, no, because mine's a lot more, I'd say mine's probably more of a SpongeBob-ish kind of high pitch. Not like that kind of voice, but like that kind of character when I go that high.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like with voice acting, it's one of those things where, you know, the voice and the range of your voice it varies from talent to talent, and like some voice actors don't necessarily have like the widest vocal range. They kind of stay comfortable in a certain like pocket, and that's perfectly fine.
I think James Arnold Taylor is like one of the first people I think of, because he has a very like mid-high, like a very mid-high range, but he usually stays in the higher range with a lot of his stuff.
Yeah,
and that's perfectly fine. Like I think he's got a great voice. But it's kind of the one thing where you can tell it's a lot harder for somebody with that kind of voice to do deeper voices. Like that's kind of the other thing. And it's not even like knocking his acting. It's just like there's some voices I've heard James or some other higher voices people do, and you can tell they're kind of struggling when they kind of have to go deeper down with the character or something like that.
What's the name of I saw like a Jat Talks video. Like, have you seen his Jat Talks videos where he's like in his car?
Yeah, I've seen a few. I've seen his one-man show, which is fucking phenomenal.
There's like a video of him in his car talking about his impression of, I can't remember their name, but like I think they were a wrestler or a boxer, like a
Randy Savage.
No, it was like a big guy that unfortunately passed away.
Andre the Giant?
Andre the Giant, yes. And talking about like how there's like, you know, it's a very like deep sounding voice, but really the way to get there isn't as deep as you'd think, because it's like it's mostly taking advantage of pockets in your cheeks.
It's very Andre the Giant is very, very cheeky. Like he has a lot of he has a lot of bubbliness to his voice.
Right, like you're not trying to, like, I don't remember exactly where it is, but like when you're dealing with bubbles in your throat, I don't know. It doesn't sound good because I don't remember the placement, and I couldn't be bothered to try.
I always remember it.
But
Anybody want the peanut? That's how you
Everybody
do
want
the
the
voice.
peanut?
It's the same slurriness with the Zoidberg voice. Because if you do Zoidberg, it's the same kind of cheekiness to the voice.
okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it's like just because one of the things I know he talks about is how people focus too much on certain aspects of pitching yourself down or up to reach voices, when in reality certain aspects of like the shape of your mouth, or like, you know, placing more emphasis inside of a cheek, or like, you know, changing the, you know, position of your jaw a little bit to do, like, for instance, if I try to do like a Winnie the Pooh voice, for instance, what I have to do is I have to kind of extend my lower jaw a little bit outward to give myself more of an underbite. I talk more like this, like I talk more like this, and then I shift my voice up, and then I just add the little bit of falsetto, and it kind of sounds more like this. Oh, bother. You know, it's like little things like that.
One of the first ones I think of is if I do my George Lucas impression, I make my mouth smaller. Because if you ever hear George Lucas talk, George Lucas has a very minimalistic way of speaking. He talks very quietly, so you make I make my mouth really, really small to just kind of just to really pronounce how he speaks, because it's very quiet. It's very quiet, kind of raspy, but not too raspy.
Yeah, no, it's just there's the little quirks that you just kind of have to cling to and be like, okay, that's the most important part of that voice. Let's try to kind of copy that for the impression.
Oh, a lot of impressions are based on exaggeration. That's kind of the other thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of impressions aren't like, there are some people who are like so one-to-one with their impression that it's amazing. And there are some people, Jeff Bennett does a great Christopher Walken. It's not the best Christopher Walken impression I've ever heard, but it's a great Christopher Walken. Like, did you ever watch Dave the Barbarian as a kid?
I did not, no.
Okay. He played a character called Twinkle the Marvel Horse, and it's his Christopher Walken impression. And he doesn't get all the cadences of Walken, but it's a really good Walken impression. But a lot of it is the exaggeration of, you know, sometimes you go down to the bathroom and sometimes the light doesn't turn on, so you're in the bathroom in the dark, and it makes it really uncomfortable to be sitting in the dark taking a poop. You can't see anything like that. It's just like that.
I just found a clip. It's really fun because it's like I can tell that it is Jeff Bennett, but just with the likeness and all the mannerisms of Christopher Walken, it's really it's I mean, I guess it's the same way that obviously Johnny Bravo is clearly supposed to be Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
But like
it's not one-to-one.
It's still fun.
Yeah.
It's not one-to-one, but like it's its own voice now. Like it's obviously based on Elvis, but because it's Jeff Bennett's voice doing the impression and it's not perfect, now it's its own voice. It's like you can't really say that it's just like
I remember Hank Azaria told the story about how a lot of his Simpsons voices are just shitty impressions. That's like a lot of
and
his
that's just how
bad impressions.
Exactly. Like you create an original character voice out of a shitty impression. Like don't be ashamed of a bad impression, because that's your opportunity to take it into something original. You know, it's inspired by another performance.
It's like oh no, you say your thing.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I probably mentioned this on our last interview. It's like how Angel Dust's voice in particular was originally inspired by Joe Pesci, and it's not really the best impression of Joe Pesci, but it's an impression of Joe Pesci to some degree, and you can kind of tell if you listen closely to it that it's like it's a less intense version of that kind of, like, you know,
high-pitched gangster.
Where, like, you know, Joe Pesci's a lot higher, and he's
Joe Pesci's got very, like, Joe Pesci's voice is just angry. Like that's the thing.
Yeah, Joe Pesci's always angry, and like, I mean, even when he's not angry, it's just very, like, he's got a very thick accent.
Very
to him
matter
a lot
of
the time.
He's very he puts a lot of words
Very
forward.
matter of fact.
He puts a lot of words forward in his mouth. It's very,
Marv,
very
what are you
matter
doing?
of fact how he speaks.
Yeah, it's just like,
Oh, you think I'm funny, huh? Funny how? Funny haha?
you know, and it's like, you know, obviously that's not a great impression, but you know, it's kind of the idea of that actor and like the kind of characters he does, and like I just pitched that down a little bit, made it a little less like intense of an accent, and just kind of went with that. But most character voices have, at least to some degree, some level of inspiration from a pre-existing character or actor.
Oh yeah, no. I've always believed that like every voice comes from something. Like every voice comes from something.
Jax from the Amazing Digital Circus, for instance, the voice reference for them. I didn't do this exactly, but I captured a lot of the mannerisms. Raggedy Andy from Raggedy Ann and Andy: A Musical Adventure.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling that's what it was based on.
I tried not to like make it sound exactly like it because I'm not gonna lie. I don't think doing a direct impression of Raggedy Andy would have actually fit the character as well because he's too much of a dick.
I gotta say, I'm real tired of all the dumb things going on around here.
I'm getting really tired of all the dumb things that go on around here.
Yeah.
This is no place for a strong, tough, and terrific guy like myself.
Or whatever he says. Boy. He says boy. But yeah, like I basically took that kind of like, very very chill, kind of like not lazy, but like, slow and drawn out and like kind of slurred kind of manner of speaking, and tried to kind of incorporate that into a little more of a slightly dickish character voice.
Because I've been doing Kamek for these Mario sprite animations for an animation friend. Her name's Izzy, and I've been doing Kamek. My Kamek is just Snively. My impression of my bad impression of Charlie Adler's Snively from Sonic Sat AM. Like that's
Snively.
Yep.
It's just this. That's like my Kamek is just an impression of his Snively. That's all it is. Like,
I mean, that's great though.
Yeah, no. Because to me, I looked at Kamek and I'm just like, I just imagined it would sound like Charlie Adler. It's just the first thing I thought when I looked at that character is he would just, I just look at him. He looks like he would.
Cow and chicken.
Oh.
Ooh, I do.
Like they. I remember I tried to get a contact for Charlie Adler. I could not find anything, and it made me very sad. I would love to talk to Charlie Adler so much.
Oh,
it's
man.
Like, the red guy is like one of my favorite voices on the planet. It's like it's just James times 4 every time I've ever heard the red guy voice.
Here, hold on. I don't know if you have IMDb Pro, but I do. I'll see if
I did. That's how I got agents for some people. That's how I tried.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's how I got contacts for several people this year. Was I got IMDb Pro for like 2 months, and I'm like, I'm just gonna spend like 2 weeks going through like every person I can think of to try and find contact information.
That way you have it. Yep.
No, I think the one that broke my heart the most was I found Steve Odekirk, the guy who made Jimmy Neutron and and the Thumb movies and like Barnyard and a bunch of stuff. And I found his email. I sent him an email, and it said, "This email no longer works." And I was like, I was like,
no.
His direct email wasn't his direct email anymore, and it broke my heart.
Oh, that sucks.
I'm trying to think of like another, because I remember I did a animation, like a Fall Guys animation years ago, and I played one of the main guys, and I remember I did this voice, and I don't think this was based on anything. It's just like the stereotypical kind of voice.
I mean, I hear that kind of voice, and I think of like I know it's based on like Bullwinkle, but like that Tristan, like, hey, it's me, Tristan. From
hey, Joey.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, which is based on the old voice they had for Tristan, which was Sam Riegel in the original dub.
Like, I forgot Sam Riegel had done it until a few years
Sam
ago.
Riegel was the original voice for Tristan Taylor, and he did the weird like, hey, come on, Joey, what are we doing here, buddy?
Hey, Joey, what's sex?
Yeah.
Are we laughing now?
To this day, there's a quote I will always say: "Burn the witch." It's like one of my favorite bits from that show. The dice were different. He must be a witch.
Oh man, I've got so much nostalgia, dude.
Oh my god.
Oh.
I am a sorcerer.
That was like the other one I was trying to remember.
God, I haven't watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged in like so long.
I kind of dropped off on it a while back, but I was trying to think.
I know that Martin still makes it, which is crazy.
I was trying to think what was like another thing.
Yeah, they made a new episode literally in August, episode 85. That's so nuts.
Oh, I remember because you were talking about you said Lackadaisy was ensemble, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We I guess I should talk about how we did the crowdfunding for the season. We did a big crowdfunding campaign on BackerKit for Lackadaisy months ago, and it was mostly for plushies with the idea, or no, it was for books actually. It was for books and other merchandise, including plushies. And after a certain threshold, if we could meet certain goals, we'd be able to fund episodes of the show. And we were able to smash all of our goals and get to like over $2 million to be able to fund an entire 5-episode season of Lackadaisy.
God damn.
Which is going to be really cool. So I don't know what the status is as far as like as of recording. I've not done much yet, but we'll see. I'm learning.
I guess with because as we're recording this, the new Hazbin trailer came out, like for the Amazon show, yeah. And I guess because I remember I had a very deep conversation with Jason Griffith actually about this, because I had asked him what was it like seeing something go on without you, and we had a very long personal conversation about it. Because I had asked him, like, because Roger's doing it now, and now with what's going on, like, I guess what is it seeing this thing keep going, I guess?
It's weird because it's like I'm definitely there's definitely sadness, obviously, because it's like, this was a big part of my life for several years. It's awesome to see something that you worked on kind of get to flourish and grow. And at the same time, though, it's really sad kind of seeing it move on without you, because it's like you want to feel like you did something that like is valuable, that people, would want to keep you around for. And I guess to some extent, it definitely is sad. And so there's like a little bit of like, I don't know. I'm not bitter. I'm definitely like, just like, oh man, that sucks. I'd love to still be a part of it. But at the same time, you got to learn to let things go and know that these things happen. It's not my character, not my show. They were given an opportunity to make the show their own thing, get a new cast of, Broadway-aligned actors for this Broadway-aligned show, and they're making their show happen. And I wish them all the best, and I hope that fans of the show really like it. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think I'll be able to bring myself to watch it.
I wouldn't blame you. Like that's.
I don't think I'll be able to bring myself to watch it. I will be completely honest. No, nothing against the people working on it now. I genuinely wish them the best, and I hope they absolutely love the show. And I hope that they enjoy their time with the characters as much as we enjoyed our time with the characters. As for myself, I think I spent a little too much time being invested in that project, to where I just wasn't really ready to say goodbye. And so it's like, I don't think I can bring myself to actually watch it, but I'll still, do my best to tell people to watch it anyway and to support it, because it's not my place to tell someone not to watch something, whether or not, like, because how I feel doesn't really matter. Like, sure, I've got certain feelings on a matter, but I don't want to tell people that they can't enjoy something just because it hurts me, especially when it's just personal. It's just a personal thing. It's not, there's no like actual like reason for anything. It's just a very personal thing. And I'm very happy to see just this thing flourish. and we'll see what everybody thinks when it comes out in January, and I look forward to seeing how fans receive it.
Because I remember when I talked to Jason, he had a lot of the stuff, because I mean Jason's had 14 years on it
Yeah.
now that he hasn't played the character anymore. But he says like, oh, I'll be downtown and I'll see a billboard of Sonic, and I'll just think like, man, how fucking cool would it be to be on a billboard? Like he was like, I don't like, he's like, I'm not bitter. Like I've learned to get past it. I think what he had said is he was very worried about his career, because that was such a defining thing of his career for so long, from what I remember him saying. He had even said some of the other Sonic cast members were afraid they weren't going to get a lot of work anymore because of that.
Yeah, no, like I agree, because it's like when you get to be a part of something that big, it's like, you know, it becomes the thing you're known for, and when you're no longer the thing that you're known for, it's like, oh shit. What am I gonna do now? You know, I think that's kind of how a lot of us felt in the pilot cast, like especially myself. Like, you know, I'm grateful that I've got so many other things that I get to work on, and I know that I'm doing well, and so I'm not nearly as upset. But I feel really bad for like everyone else in the pilot cast that I know, you know, they're still doing their thing, but like I don't know. You know, what their biggest thing is right now. And I always worry about that idea of like, what if that is like the big thing for them still, is just like, oh, they were known for the Hazbin Hotel pilot. It's just, something feels really bad about like having to cling to something that you know you're not a part of anymore. And it's part of why, you know, I'm trying to kind of, as far as like materials and stuff, I try to promote Angel a little less. Like I'll still talk about him, and I'll still, you know, offer a print of Angel or something on my shop every now and again. But I, for the most part, want to kind of let the transition to the new cast kind of go seamlessly, just because I don't want to cause confusion, and I don't want to just hold on to something that I know isn't mine anymore. The last thing I want to do is kind of cling to something even though it's over, because I feel like that's gonna not really do much for me.
I think it was Steve Bloom who I remember I heard him talk about this once, where he had said like, we always say that your next job is going to be your last job, because you never know like with how the voiceover industry is.
Yep. Exactly. You take them and you treat it like it's, you know, your next best thing, and it's, you know, the thing you're going to be known for. You just have to, you know, take it as seriously as you can and have fun with it. But no, like I'm happy to see the show succeeding, and I'm glad that the, you know, all of the work that everybody in the pilot cast, in the pilot crew, you know, all of that was enough to bring the attention of, you know, to bring in the attention of studios and, you know, A24, who was interested in collecting, you know, the rights to the show and being able to actually fund it for a season, or 2 seasons now, actually. Now that it's on Amazon Prime, they got confirmed for 2 seasons. So it's very cool to see that kind of happen from our efforts, and very, very, very curious to see where it goes.
Yeah. Ooh. God damn, I've been sitting in this chair for 2 hours. Holy shit.
I've been getting up. I've got a headset, so I have the luxury of being able to actually get up and move around.
Oh, I can't. I've been like kind of walking around while we've been talking. It's because I'm like, I've been sitting in that chair for almost 2 hours. So like the last 40 minutes, I've gotten up like every 3 minutes, and I'm just walking back and forth in my chair.
Yeah, no, I've been pacing around every now and again too. Whenever I'm on the phone, I have to pace around. I cannot sit in one place and be in a call.
I wanted to say thank you so much for coming on this, dude.
Oh yeah, no, of course, dude. I'm always happy to.
I guess if there's any advice you'd want to give for people that want to get into voiceover, what would it be?
Yeah. Well, the most important thing is to make sure that you have fun, that you're enjoying what you do. Don't just go into it because you think you'll be cool and you'll be famous or something, because that's not likely. The people do get notoriety from this stuff, but like it's not quite what you expect. It's not like, it's nothing that special. And also, if you do just go into it for the fame or anything, it's never a good reason. Don't do that. Just do it because you like doing it. Your acting will be much better. You'll have a much more fun time, and you'll learn to like enjoy the small projects. Because like, I do work on projects that people would consider popular, like Murder Drones, Digital Circus, Lackadaisy. Those are really popular, but I work on other things that are not quite as popular, that like people wouldn't really know as much about, and still have just as much fun. A lot of like smaller indie games, smaller little animations that people do, and I have just as much fun, if not more fun, on a lot of those. So don't treat projects just differently based on how popular they are, or like not audition for things because you're like, oh, this is low tier. I don't care. It's like, no, just do it because you love to do it, enjoy doing it, have fun playing these diverse, fun characters. Make a demo reel, even if it's crap at first. Just don't go submitting it to studios. Make a demo reel to get yourself started. There's good guides on the Voice Acting Club that Kira Buckland has made. Go on ahead and like find those resources. Join the community. There's a Voice Acting Club Discord server. I know that Casting Call Club is still active. I don't know if that site's any good these days, but I haven't used it like much at all. I know a lot of people use
I
it.
see like one thing, like one big thing pop up on there on occasion, but I don't really use it.
Yeah, I was never a Casting Call Club person. I used BTVA back in the day. Sorry, I've still got a cough. Most notably, I used VAA back in the day, but like that was before I ever even.
I remember Voice Acting Alliance, so that went belly up like 7 years ago.
Oh yeah, back then though, I didn't really have much of any notoriety or any kind of career. I basically I don't think I ever even booked anything on VAA, but I used that the most. I remember that. But yeah, no. Just stay safe. Good. Don't hydroplane in the rain.
I thought you were to say don't do. I thought you were to say don't do drugs.
If it's legal. If it's legal where you are, yes. If it's not legal where you are, yes. I don't know. No.
The Who's on Next podcast does not condone drug usage.
I mean, if it's recreational,
if it's recreational, it's fine. But
yeah, and if it's not recreationally legal in your area, then you should, vote to make it recreational, because I think it should be in most. I don't even smoke, but I know so many people that do, and it's like it's not. So long as you're responsible, that it's fine. I don't know, but yeah. Stay safe out there, kiddos. Finger guns. Pow pow.